Hi everyone, today I will solve all the questions in the past paper IGCSE 0580 in February and March 2023, and this is the question paper 42. So let's get started. Question 1. Alan and Beatrice share $750 in the ratio 8:7. Show that Alan receives $400. So this is a question about ratio. And you see that the total of two people is $750. And it is divided into 15 units because 8 plus 7 is 15 units. So if 15 units equals $750, then we find the value of 1 unit by dividing 750 divided by 15 units, which is 7 plus 8. And this is the value of 1 unit. Then if you want to find Alan, then you see that Alan is corresponding to 8 units. So we multiply the value of 1 unit by 8. And then the answer is gonna be $400. Number 2. Alan spends $150. Write this as a percentage of $400. This is very simple. 150 over 400. And then you convert this decimal into percentage. And then the answer is 37.5%. B. He invests the remaining $250. At a rate of 2% per year simple interest. Calculate the amount Alan has at the end of 5 years. So when we see that this is a simple interest, $250 is P, is the amount that he invests, and 2% per year, this is the interest rate. And then 5 years is the time T. In simple interest, we have a formula that is interest equals PRT. P is $250, R is 2%, and T is 5 years. So the amount of interest is $25. And the question asks you about the amount that Alan has at the end, which means we need to find the total amount. To do this, we will add up the original amount and the interest, which is $250 plus $25 equals $275. Number 3. Beatrice invests her $350. This is P. At a rate of 0.25% per month. This is the interest rate. Compound interest. Calculate the amount Beatrice has at the end of 5 years. So you notice that this is the interest rate per month, but the time is 5 years. They don't have the same units, so we need to convert them so that they have the same units. 5 years means, each year has 12 months, so 5 years is 5 times 12 equals 60 months. We need to convert this into 60 months. And now we can calculate the total amount that Beatrice received after 5 years. The formula for the compound interest is total equals P times 1 plus R to the power of T. P is $350 and R is 0.25%. On to the power of T. T is 60 months. So the answer for this is $407 because you need to give your answer correct to the nearest dollar. Question B. Carl, Dina, and Eva share 100 oranges. The ratio of Carl to Dina is 3 to 5. And the ratio of Carl to Eva is 2 to 3. So we find the number of oranges Carl receives. In this case, we only have the ratio for each pair of people, but we need to find out a ratio for 3 people. To do this, we will notice that we have Carl here. And the lowest common multiple of 3 and 2 is 6. So now we'll try to convert 3 to 5 into 6 to something. That should be 6 to 10 because 3 times 2 is 6. So 5 times 2 is 10. So the first one is 6 to 10. Next, we also convert 2 to 3 into 6 to something. 2 times 3 is 6, so 3 times 3 is 9. So we write down the number 9 here. This is the ratio for 3 people. And you know that the total number of oranges is 100. This 100 oranges is corresponding to 6 plus 10 plus 9 is 25 units. If 25 units is 100 oranges, then the value of 1 unit will be 100 divided by 25 equals 4 oranges. And we want to find the number of oranges Carl receives. And you see that it is 6 units. So we multiply the value of 1 unit by 6. So the answer is 24 oranges. C. Fred buys a house. At the end of the first year, the value of the house increases by 5%. So suppose that P is the amount that he paid for the house. So at the end of the first year, and you know that the original amount is always 100%. So after the first year, the value of the house increased by 5%. Here it is, increased by 5%. Then after 1 year, the value will be 105%, isn't it? And then after the second year, the value of the house increases by 3%. Do you think that 105% increases by 3%, then the new value is 108%? This is totally wrong, because if you think 105 plus 3 equals 108%, which means you think that this is 3% of the original amount. That is not. It's not 3% of the amount that he paid, but it is 3% of the value at the end of the first year, which means it is 3% of the new amount here. So be very careful when you deal with the questions about percentages. At the end of the first year, after an increase of 5%, the new value will be P multiplied by 105%, or you can write 1.05. And after that, you increase it by 3%. Then you have to consider the new amount is 100% now. And then if you increase it by 3%, the new value will be 103%, which means you will multiply the value after the first year by 103%, or you can say 1.03. And this is the value of the house at the end of the second year. At the end of the second year, according to the question, this value is $60,564. From this, we see that we can find the value of P by dividing 60,564 by 1.05 times 1.03. And the answer is gonna be $56,000. Question D. Gabriel invests $500, this is P, at a rate of R% per year, compound interest. At the end of 8 years, the value of the investment is $609.20, and we need to find the value of R. You know that in compound interest, the formula for the total amount is P multiplied by 1 plus R onto the power of T. In this case, we see that the interest rate per year and the time is also in years, so we don't need to convert the time anymore. P is $500 and the interest rate is the unknown value. T is 8 years. And this amount is $609.20. And now we need to solve for R. To do this, first we will remove the number 500 by dividing both sides by 500. Next, we'll remove the power of 8 by taking the 8th root for both sides. Then I'll remove the number 1 by subtracting both sides by 1. And finally, R% means R over 100. So I'll remove the number 100 by multiplying both sides by 100. So this is gonna be 609.20 over 50 minus 1, all multiplied by 100. And the answer is 2.50. Question 2. A. 100 students take part in a reaction test. The table shows the results. The first row shows the reaction time in seconds, and the second row is the frequency, the number of students. The first question, write down the mode. The mode is a value with the highest frequency. In this case, the highest frequency is 32, so the mode is 7 seconds. Second question, find the median. You know that there are 100 students in this question, so the median n equals 100, and the median will be the value at the position n plus 1 over 2. In this case, 100 plus 1 over 2 is 101 divided by 2, which is 50.5. So this median is the middle value of the 50th and the 51st value. So we just count on 3 plus 32 is 35. 35 plus 19 is 54. So the 50th and the 51st value are both 8 seconds. So the middle value of them will be 8. Then we say that the median is 8 seconds. Number 3, calculate the mean. To find the mean, we will multiply the reaction time by the number of students. 6 times 3, 7 times 32, and so on. We multiply each pair of numbers. Then we add up the products. We add up all the products, and then we divide it by the 100. So I will write down the formula again. 6 times 3 plus 7 times 32 plus 8 times 19 until 11 times 6. And then we divide it by 100 students. And the answer is 8.31 seconds. Number 4. 2 students are chosen at random. We have 2 students. Find the probability that both their reaction time, are greater than or equal to 9 seconds. So first, we know that there are 100 students in total. And how many students that the reaction times are greater than or equal to 9 seconds? Let's check it. 9 seconds or more is this one. So we add up 29 plus 11 is 40. 40 plus 6 is 46. So I'll write down 29 plus 11 plus 6. There are 46 students that the reaction times are greater than or equal to 9 seconds. And the total number of students is 100. So the probability that both of them has the reaction time greater than or equal to 9 seconds will be: the first student is 46 over 100. And the second student will be, after picking this student, we only have 45 left in the group that the reaction time is greater than or equal to 9 seconds. And the total number of students is only 99 now. So we multiply these two probabilities, and the answer is 23 over 110. Question B. The box and whisker plot shows the heights, h centimeters, of some students. Find the range. First, you need to remember in the box and whisker plot, we have 5 vertical marks. The first one is the mean, the minimum value, and the last one is the maximum value. The next mark is Q1, which is the lower quartile, median, and upper quartile. So to find the range, we will subtract the minimum value from the maximum value. The maximum value in this case is 158, and the minimum value is 105. So 158 minus 105 equals 53 centimeters. Next, find the interquartile range. It is gonna be Q3 minus Q1, thus interquartile range. And Q3 minus Q1. Q3 is equal to 142. Q1 is 122. So 142 minus 122 equals 20 centimeters. C. The mass of each of 200 potatoes is measured. The table shows the results. In this case, if we want to find the mean, first we need to find the middle value of each interval. To do this, we'll add up 50 and 110 together, which is 160. 160 divided by 2 is 80. So we say that the middle value is 80. Similarly, 110 plus 200 is 310. 310 divided by 2 is 155. This is the middle value of the second interval. For the last interval, 200 plus 300 is 500. 500 divided by 2 is 250. Now we multiply the middle value by the corresponding frequency. 80 times 60. We multiply 155 by 99 and then 250 by 41. Then we add up these products together and we divide it by the total frequency, which is 200 potatoes. And the answer is 151.975 grams. The last question, complete the histogram to show the information in the table. To draw the histogram, we need to find the frequency density of each interval. So let's check the table again. The formula for the frequency density is equal to the frequency divided by class width. So let's find the frequency density of the first one. The frequency is 60 divided by the class width is 110 minus 50. 60 over 60 is 1. The frequency density of the second interval is frequency 99 over class width 200 minus 110. 99 divided by 90 is 1.1. And finally, frequency density of the last interval is 41 over 300 minus 200. So 41 over 100 is 0.41. And 1.1, 0.41 is the height of the bar in the histogram. So we remember these three values. I'll write it down here. 1, 1.1, 0.41. And we have three intervals from 50 to 110, from 110 to 200, and from 200 to 300. So we will mark it here. This is from 0 to 110, the first interval, and the height is actually 1. The second interval is from 110 to 200, and the height of this bar is 1.1, which is here. This is the second bar. And the last interval is from 200 to 300, and the height of this bar is 0.41. 0.4 is here, so 0.1 is a little bit higher than 0.4. So the last bar is like this. Question 3. The diagram shows a cylinder containing water. There is a solid metal sphere touching the base of the cylinder. Half of the sphere is in the water. The radius of the cylinder is 12 centimeters, and the radius of the sphere is 3 centimeters. The sphere is removed from the cylinder and the level of water decreases by h centimeters. Show that h is equal to 0.125. So first, we find the volume at this level, which means we find the volume of the water plus half of the sphere, or I would say the semisphere. It is equal to, it looks like another cylinder. So the formula for this volume will be pi r squared times height. In this case, pi r squared, the radius of the big cylinder is this one, 12 centimeters. It is given in the question. So I will say pi 12 squared times the height is 3 centimeters. So this one is 432 pi. Then we'll find the volume of the semisphere. It is 1/2 of 4/3. The formula is given here. 1/2 of 4/3 pi r cubed. In this case, the radius of the semisphere is only 3 centimeters. This one, 3 centimeters. So it is 3 cubed equals 18 pi. So from these two, we can find the volume of the water in the cylinder by subtraction. The volume of water is equal to 432 pi minus 18 pi equals 414 pi. And you know that the volume of the water in the cylinder is also equal to pi r squared times the height of water, right? The radius is 12 squared times the height of water is equal to 414 pi. So from this, we can cancel pi and pi. Then the height of the water is equal to 404 divided by 12 squared, which is 2.875. This is the real height of the water. And the height of the water when the sphere is in the cylinder is 3. So if we want to know the level of the water decreases by h centimeters, then this h will be 3 minus the height of water. And the height of the water is, I will call it the height that decreases, is equal to 3 minus the height of water, which is 3 minus 2.875 equals 0.125 centimeters. And that's it. B. The water in the cylinder is poured into another cylinder of radius r centimeters. From question A, you remember that the volume of water is equal to 414 pi. And now, this one is poured into a cylinder, and the volume of the cylinder is pi r squared times height. The height in this case is 18 centimeters. Similarly, we can cancel pi and pi. So to find the radius squared, we divide both sides by 18. And then to find the radius, we take the square root of this quotient. Because the radius is positive, so we don't need to write positive and negative sign. And the answer for this is 4.80. C. The sphere is melted down, and some of the metal is used to make 30 cubes with edge length 1.5 centimeters. Calculate the percentage of metal not used. So first, we will find the volume of the sphere again. In question A, we know that the volume of the sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed, and the radius of the sphere in question A is 3. So this is 3 cubed equals 36 pi. And then we find the volume of 30 cubes. The volume of 30 cubes is equal to 30 multiplied by the volume of 1 cube. 1 cube has the volume of 1.5 cubed because the length of one side is 1.5. And this will be 101.25 centimeter cubed. So to find the percentage of the metal not used, first we need to find the volume of the metal that we didn't use. It is equal to the volume of the sphere minus the volume of 30 cubes. And to find the percentage, we need to divide this volume by the original volume, which is the volume of the sphere. So I'll divide this by 36 pi. And then we convert this one into percentage. So the answer is going to be 10.5%. Question 4. A. Enlarge triangle T by scale factor 3 center 0,2. First, we determine the position of the center. 0,2 is here. This one is the center. And to enlarge the triangle T by scale factor of 3, we will find the distance from the center to each vertex. For example, this distance is 3. So we continue to count on 3, 6, and then 9. And the new vertex will be here. Next, we also start from the center and we count the distance to this vertex 1 unit. So we continue 1, 2, 3 units. And the new vertex should be here. Finally, we also count this distance to this vertex 3 units. So we continue to count on 6 and 9. So the new vertex will be here. And the answer for this will be this triangle. So this is the first question. Second question. A. Rotate triangle T about 42 by 90 degrees clockwise. So first we'll determine the point 42. Which is here. And if this is the center of the rotation, we will make sure that each vertex is rotated 90 degrees clockwise. So this red vertex will be here. This is 90 degrees clockwise. Similarly, we also rotate this blue vertex 90 degrees clockwise, so it will be here. And finally, for the black vertex, we also rotated 90 degrees clockwise, so it should be here. And now we will draw a triangle for these 3 vertex. I will call this triangle image P. This is P. And then we need to reflect the triangle T. Let's draw the triangle T again. We reflect this triangle in the line x plus y equals 6. First, we'll draw this line. And to draw the line, you will find 2 points on this line. For example, if I choose x to be 0, then y equals 6. And if y equals 0, then x will be 6. So this line passes through 0, 6, and the point 6, 0, this one. So I'll draw this line. And now we reflect the triangle T over this line. To do that, you guys also count from this vertex to the line. This is half of a unit, so we count on half of a unit, and the vertex will be here. Now for the second vertex, for the blue one, we count on 1 unit, so we continue to move on 1 unit, and the new vertex is here. Finally, for the black vertex, we also count on 1, 2 units, so we continue 1, 2 units, and the new vertex is here. Now we will join these 3 vertices together, and the new triangle will be like this. This is the triangle Q. C. Describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle P onto triangle Q. We see that the triangles P and Q, the single transformation should be reflection over the line x equals 4. So I'll write reflection in the line x equals 4. That's it. B. The diagram shows triangle OHK where O is the origin. The position vector of H is A, and the position vector of K is B. Z is the point on HK such that HZ to ZK is 2 to 5. Find the position vector of Z in terms of A and B, which means we need to find the vector OZ. OZ is equal to the vector OZ is equal to vector OH plus the vector HZ. OH is given in the question, which is A, and now we need to find the vector HZ only. In the diagram, we see that HZ is 2 units, ZK is 5 units, so HK will be 7 units, which means HZ is 2/7 of HK. And now we just find the vector HK. A plus 2/7 again. The vector HK is equal to vector HO plus OK. And the vector HO is negative A because OH is A. So the vector HO is negative A. Plus the vector OK is B. Now we need to simplify the answer. So first I'll expand the brackets. A minus 2/7 A plus 2/7 B. A minus 2/7 A is 5/7 A plus 2/7 B. Question 5. A. Expand and simplify. So we just pair up 2p squared times 3p squared is 6p to the power 4. And then 2p squared times negative 2 is negative 4p squared. Next, negative 3 times 3p squared is negative 9p squared. And finally, negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. And then we just simplify this one. 6p to the power of 4. Negative 4p squared minus 9p squared is minus 13p squared plus 6. B. S equals 1/2 of u plus v in brackets times t. Find the value of S when we have the values of u, v, and t. This is very simple. We just substitute everything into the formula. U is 20, v is 30, and t is 7. So the answer is 175. Next, rearrange the formula to write v in terms of S, U, and t. First, we see that S equals 1/2 of U plus V times T. So if we want to make V the subject, then we should remove the number 1/2 by multiplying both sides by 2. So this one is U plus V times T. Then we can remove T by dividing both sides by T. So it is U plus V here. Finally, we can remove U by subtracting both sides by U. So the right-hand side is only V now. So V equals 2S over T minus U. And that's it. C. Factorize completely. For the first pair, we see that T is a common factor. So 2Q minus 3 is left. And for the second pair, we can say that 2 or negative 2 is a common factor. What if I choose negative 2 as a common factor? Then 3 is left for the first term, and negative 2Q is left for the second term. And we see that 2Q minus 3 is the opposite of 3 minus 2Q. So I'll try to convert them so that they are the same. I'll keep the first one. And for the second, if you want to change it to 2Q minus 3, you also change the sign of this, which means negative 2 becomes positive 2. And now, the new common factor is 2Q minus 3, and then T plus 2 is left. So the answer is 2Q minus 3 times T plus 2. Last question, x squared minus 25x. You know the common factor is definitely x. And then x squared minus 25 is left. 25 is 5 squared. So this is x squared minus 5 squared. And now it has the form a squared minus b squared. So we'll write x multiplied by x minus 5 times x plus 5. And this is the final answer. X minus 5, x plus 5. Question 6. A is the point 0,4 and B is the point 80. The line L1 is parallel to the x-axis, and the line L2 passes through the point A and B. Question A. Write down the equation of L1. You know that L1 is parallel to the x-axis, so the equation of the line L1 should be y equals a constant. In this case, the line L1 passes through the point A, 0, 4. So the y value of A is 4, which means the line L1 is y equals 4. Question B. Find the equation of L2. Give your answer in the form y equals mx plus c. In this case, you see that the line L2 passes through the points A and B. So to write down the equation of L2, we need two things. The first one is the gradient M. The gradient M is rise over run. And C is the y-intercept. So first, let's talk about the gradient. M is rise over run. We can see that the line L2 passes through A and B. So rise is here, -4. And the run is this one, 8 units. So the gradient M is rise -4 over run 8, which is -1/2. And for the y-intercept C, we see that the line L2 crosses the y-axis at the number 4 here. So C is equal to 4. Now we have M and C, so we can write down the answer for the line L2, which is y equals -1/2 of x plus 4. Question C. C is the point 2, 3, and the line L3 passes through C and is perpendicular to L2. So we need to find the line L3. C is the point 2, 3. So C is somewhere here. This is C. And now we need to write the equation of a line passes through C and perpendicular to L2. So the line is L3 here. The line L3 is perpendicular to L2. This one is to find the gradient M. And the line L3 passes through the point C23. This one is to find the y-intercept C. So, first, let's talk about the gradient. You know that if L3 is perpendicular to L2, then the gradient of L3 multiplied by the gradient of L2 is -1. According to question B, the gradient of L2 is -1/2. So I will substitute -1/2 into this, and then we can find the gradient of L3 by dividing -1 by -1/2, which is 2. So this is the gradient of the line L3. And you know that the general form of a straight line is y equals mx plus c. In this case, the gradient of the line L3 is 2. And now we'll substitute the coordinates of the point C into this equation. The x value is 2 and the y value is 3. So we will find the value of C here. C is equal to 3 minus 2 times 2 is 4. So 3 minus 4 equals -1. And now we have the gradient and the y-intercept. So we can write down the equation of the line L3, which is y equals mx plus c, 2x minus 1. And that is the final answer for this question. Number 2, L3 crosses the x-axis at D. So first, let's take a look at the line L3 again. L3 is y equals 2x minus 1. And the equation of the x-axis is y equals 0. So we substitute y equals 0 into the line L3, which will give you 0 equals 2x minus 1. And we'll solve for x. 2x equals 0 plus 1 equals 1. Then x is 1/2. So we know that the coordinates of the point D is x is 1/2 and y is 0. The question is find the length of CD. And according to question C, you see that the point C is 2, 3. C is 2, 3. And D is 1/2, 0. So the length of the line CD is, we have a formula for the length of a line segment, which is XD minus XC squared plus YD minus YC squared. And the answer for this is 3√5/2, which is 3.35. Question 7. We see some information like the students in the class, the students who study physics, the students who study chemistry, and the universal set has 24 elements. There are 17 students who study physics, 14 students study chemistry, and 9 students study both. So we need to complete the Venn diagram. You know that there are 17 students who study physics, so 17 minus 9 equals 8, which means 8 students only study physics. Then 14 students study chemistry, so we also subtract 9 from 14, which means 5 students only study chemistry. Finally, the total number of students is 24, and we see that 8 plus 9 plus 5 is 22. So 24 minus 22 is 2, which means 2 students don't study physics or chemistry. Question B. Find n of P intersection not C. This means we need to find the elements in P but not in C, which means this section. There are 8 students in this section, so we say that this set has 8 members. Next, find n of P union not C. This means we'll find all the elements in P or in not C. So I'll shade the whole of P and the whole of not C. The blue section includes 8 plus 9 plus 2, which is 19 members. C. 2 students are picked from the class at random. We have 2 students. Find the probability that 1 student studies both and 1 student studies chemistry, but not physics. Not physics. So there are 2 cases. Maybe the first student study both, and then the second student only study chemistry. Or maybe the first student study chemistry, but not physics, and then the second student study both. So for the first case, the student study both, which means the probability is 9 out of 24. And this student only study chemistry, which means 5 out of 23. After we pick 1 student, the total number is only 23 now. And in the second case, The first student only studied chemistry, which means the probability is 5 out of 24. And the second student studied both, which is 9 out of 23. And you will see that these two look similar because the numerator is 9 times 5 and the denominator is 24 times 23. So you can find the probability of one case and then you double it, which is 15 over 92. Question D. Two of the students who study physics are picked at random. This means the denominator should be the number of students who study physics. How many students study physics? There are 17. So the denominator is 17. Find the probability that they both study chemistry. So we will look at the set of students who study physics and we check how many of them also study chemistry. The number of students who study physics is 17 and only 9 of them study both. So the probability of the first student is 9 out of 17. And the probability of the second student is 8 over 16 now. After we pick one student, then we only have 8 left who study both. And the total number of students who study physics is only 16 now. So the answer for this is 9 out of 34. In question C, you see that we also pick 2 students and there are 2 cases. Because the order is very important. Maybe the first student study both and the second student only study chemistry. Or maybe the first student only study chemistry and then the second student study both. But in question D, you see that both students are from the set of the students who study physics. And we find the probability that both of them study chemistry. So you see that in this case, the order is not important because they both study chemistry. They have the same property. So we don't have the second case in this question D. Question 8. Calculate the area of the triangle. You know that the formula for the area of the triangle is base times height over 2. In this case, the base is 12 centimeters. The height is 9 centimeters. So the answer is 54 square centimeters. Question B. AB is 2x plus 3 and H is x plus 5. The area of the triangle ABC is 50 square centimeters. So we'll write down the area of the triangle. Similarly, base times height over 2. The base AB is 2x plus 3. Remember to put it in brackets before you multiply by the height. The height is x plus 5 all over 2. And you see that the area of the triangle ABC is 50 square centimeters. This is a quadratic equation and now we need to solve for it. First, we will multiply both sides by the number 2. So it is 2x plus 3 times x plus 5. We multiply both sides by 2. So the right-hand side is 50 times 2 equals 100. And then we expand the left-hand side. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 5 is 10x. And then 3x. Finally, 3 times 5 is 15. Equals 100 on the right-hand side. Now we continue to simplify this. 2x squared. 10x plus 3x is 13x. And then we add 15. Then we also subtract both sides by 100, so the right-hand side is 0 now. Continue to simplify this, so we get 2x squared plus 13x. This one is negative 85 equals 0. This is a quadratic equation where a is 2, b is 13, and c is negative 85. According to the quadratic formula, you know that x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now we'll substitute everything into this formula. Negative b means negative 13 plus or minus the square root of 13 squared minus 4 times your a is 2 and your c is negative 85. Finally, we divide everything by 2a. Your a is 2. So this is the quadratic formula, and we can use the calculator. Remember, we only accept the positive value for x, because if x is negative, then the measurement of the base and the height may also be negative, and that's impossible. So we only accept the positive value for x, which is 4.03. Question 9. F of x equals x cubed minus 3x squared minus 4. A. Find the gradient of the graph y equals f of x where x equals 1. You know that to find the gradient of the graph, we should find the derivative, dy over dx. And to do this, you need to remember the derivative of x cubed is 3x squared. The derivative of x squared is 2x, and the derivative of negative 4 is just 0, so we skip it. So this one is equal to 3x squared minus 6x, and if we want to find the gradient at the point x equals 1, so we substitute x equals 1 into this expression, which will give you 3 times 1 squared minus 6 times 1. It is 3 minus 6 equals negative 3 as the final answer. B. Find the coordinates of the turning points of the graph. You know that to find the turning points, we need the derivative to be 0, which means 3x squared minus 6x equals 0. And then we solve for x. In this case, we can factorize 3x times x minus 2 equals 0. This leads to x can be 0 or x minus 2 is 0. If x minus 2 is 0, then x equals 2. And then we find the value of y. When x equals 0, y is, from the question, you see that y is equal to x cubed minus 3x squared minus 4. So the value of y is 0 cubed minus 3 times 0 squared minus 4, which is negative 4. And then for the second one, when x equals 2, then y equals 2 cubed minus 3 times 2 squared minus 4, which is negative 8. So the two turning points is 0, negative 4, or 2, negative 8. C. Sketch the graph of y equals f of x. According to question B, you know that the line is y equals x cubed minus 3x squared minus 4. And you know that the general form of a cubic graph is ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. If a is positive, then the graph has a form like this, and if a is negative, then the graph should look like this. In this case, we see that the coefficient of x cubed is positive. In this case, a is positive, so we know that the form of the graph should be like this. Next, from question B, you also know that the two turning points are 0, -4, and 2, -8. So first we'll plot these 2 points. 0, -4 is somewhere here, and 2, -8 is somewhere here. So these are the turning points. Then the form of the graph should be like this. Question 10. The diagram shows a quadrilateral ABCD. So remember, it's not a 3D shape. AC is 12.3 centimeters and AD is 16.5 centimeters. Angle BAC is 31 degrees. Angle ABC is 90 degrees. This is a right angle. And the angle ACD is also a right angle. Question A. Show that AB is 10.54, correct to 2 decimal places. AB is this line. ABC is a right angle triangle, so we can apply SOHCAHTOA to find the length of AB. Which one should we use? Look at the angle 31 degrees. AB is the adjacent and AC is hypotenuse. So if we have the adjacent and hypotenuse, then we should use CA. Cos 31 degrees is equal to AB over AC. AC is 12.3. So we can find the value of AB by multiplying 12.3 by cos 31 degrees. And the answer is 10.543, which is 10.54, correct to 2 decimal places. B. Show that the angle DAC is 41.80 degrees Celsius. So let's take a look at the angle DAC. DAC, this angle. And this angle is also in a right angle triangle, ACD. In the triangle ACD, AC is adjacent and AD is hypotenuse. So once again, we also use cos. This is question B. Cos of DAC is equal to adjacent 12.3 over hypotenuse 16.5. So cos of DAC is this quotient. Then if you want to find the angle DAC, it is the inverse of cos 12.3 over 16.5. And the answer is 41.802, which is 41.80, correct to 2 decimal places. Question C. Calculate BD. BD is this line. And look at the triangle ABD. From question A, we know that the length of AB is 10.54 centimeters. And from question B, we know that the angle DAC is 41.80 degrees. So we can find the angle DAB. The angle DAB is equal to 31 plus 41.80 equals 72.80 degrees. And in this question, we already have the angle DAB. We also have the length of AB and AD. So we can apply the cos rule to find the length of BD. BD squared is equal to AB squared plus AD squared minus 2 times AB times AD times cos of the angle DAB. So now we substitute the length of AB, which is 10.54. The length of AD is 16.5 minus 2 times AB times AD times cos of DAB. DAB is 72.80 degrees. And then BD is the square root of everything I wrote before. So the answer for this is 16.7 centimeters. Question D. Calculate angle CBD, this blue angle. You know that the angle CBD is an angle in the triangle BCD, this blue triangle. In this triangle, we know that the length of BD is 16.7 centimeters from question C. And so if we can find the length of BC and CD, then we can apply the cos rule to find the angle CBD. So first, let's find the length of BC. BC is assigned in the triangle ABC, and BC is opposite to the angle A. AC is the hypotenuse of this triangle, so we use the sin 31 degrees is equal to opposite over hypotenuse 12.3. So BC is equal to 12.3 times sin 31 equals 6.33 centimeters. This one is 6.33. Next, we'll find the length of CD. CD is assigned in the triangle ACD. And in this triangle, we already have the length of the other two sides. So we can use Pythagoras theorem to find the length of CD. CD is equal to the square root of the hypotenuse squared, 16.5 squared, minus 12.3 squared. And this is equal to 10.998 centimeters. 10.998. So now we'll apply the cos rule to this triangle to find the angle CBD. The cos rule says that cos of CBD is equal to BC squared plus BD squared minus CD squared all over 2 times BC times BD. And now we substitute all the numbers into this formula. BC is equal to 6.33 and BD is 16.7. CD is 10.998. Now we divide this by 2 times BC is 6.33 and BD is 16.7. And then to find the angle CBD, we will use the inverse of cos. So the answer for this is 20.5 degrees. Question E. Calculate the shortest distance from C to BD. The shortest distance from C to BD is the line that starts from C and perpendicular to BD. So I will call this intersection H, which means we need to find the length of CH. Question E. We need to find the length of CH. We see that the triangle BCH is a right angle triangle. So if we want to find the length of CH, and we already know the size of the angle CBH, which is 20.5 degrees, according to question D. And we also know the length of BC, which is 6.33 centimeters. So we can use the sin rule to find the length of CH. Sin of the angle CBH is equal to opposite CH over hypotenuse CB. The angle CBH is 20.5 degrees, is equal to CH over CB is 6.33. So to find the length of CH, we'll multiply 6.33 by sin 20.5 degrees. And the answer for this is 2.22 centimeters. So the shortest distance from C to BD is 2.22 centimeters. Question 11. Given some functions like f of x, g of x, h of x, and j of x. A. Find j of -1. For question A, we just look at the function j of x and we substitute x equals -1 into this. So j of -1 is x squared is 1 -1 squared, which is only 1. B. Find x when f of x plus g of x equals 0. You know f of x is 2x minus 1 and g of x is 3x plus 2. So we add up these two and then equals 0. 2x plus 3x is 5x. -1 plus 2 means plus 1 equals 0. And we subtract 1 from both sides. So 0 minus 1 equals -1. And then we divide both sides by 5. So -1 divided by 5 is -1/5. Or you can write -0.2. C. Find g of x, giving your answer in simplest form. First, we know that g of x is equal to 3x plus 2. So if we want to find g of x, then we will substitute 3x plus 2 into g of x, which means 3 multiplied by 3x plus 2. Then we add 2 again. 3 times 3x is 9x. 3 times 2 is 6. And then we add 2. Now we simplify this. It is 9x plus 8. Because 6 plus 2 is 8. Question D. Find h of f of x and g of h of x, giving your answer in a single fraction in simplest form. First, we know that f of x is 2x minus 1. And h of x is 1 over x. Then g of x is 3x plus 2. This is what we are given. So, if we want to find h of f of x, we will substitute 2x minus 1 into h of x, which means x becomes 2x minus 1 now. And then we also find g of h of x. which means I will substitute h of x into g. So 3, instead of multiply by x, I will multiply it by 1 over x plus 2. So now we'll combine these two together. If I want to add h of f plus g of h, which means I will add 1 over 2x minus 1 plus 3 times 1 over x means 3 over x plus 2. And now we will need to write this as a single fraction in simplest form. The common denominator should be x multiplied by 2x minus 1. For the first fraction, we already have 2x minus 1, so we just multiply 1 by x, which is x. For the second fraction, we have x as a denominator, so we multiply 3 by 2x minus 1. And finally, 2 needs to multiply by x and 2x minus 1. Now we need to expand the brackets and simplify this. The numerator is x plus 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. Over x multiplied by 2x minus 1. Now we simplify the numerator. 4x squared. I'll write it again. X plus 6x minus 2x means, 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 minus 2 is 5. So we have 5x. And finally, I write negative 3. All over x multiplied by 2x minus 1. This is the final answer. Question E. When P of Px is equal to x, then P of x is a function such that the inverse of P of x is equal to P of x. Draw a ring around the function that has this property. So to do this, we'll check if P of x is equal to x or not. So for the first one, if I want to find f of x, then I will substitute 2x minus 1 into the function f. So I have 2 multiplied by 2x minus 1 minus 1. This is 2 times 2 is 4x. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 minus 1. And the answer for this is 4x minus 3, which is not x. The second choice, we'll find g of x. So I will substitute 3x plus 2 into the function g. And this is 3 times 3 is 9x. 3 times 2 is 6. And then we add 2. So the answer for this is 9x plus 8, which is not x. Now let's check h of x. I will substitute h of x into the function h of x. So instead of writing 1 over x, I'll write 1 over x. This one is the same as 1 divided by 1 over x. And to divide by 1 over x, we multiply by the reciprocal of it, which is x over 1. 1 times x is x, and x over 1 is just x. So this one is definitely the answer. But I still want to check j of x. So we'll find j of x. Instead of writing x squared, we'll write x squared all squared again. And this is equal to x to the power of 4, not x. So the only answer is h of x equals 1 over x, where x is not equal to 0. Question 12a. Sketch the graph of y equals tan of x for 0 to 360 degrees. So first, we should draw a table of value for this function. Where x equals 0, then tan of x equals 0. When x equals 45 degrees, tan of x is 1. And when x equals 90 degrees, tan of x is undefined. When x equals 135 degrees, tan of x is negative 1. When x is 180 degrees, then tan of x is 0. When x equals 225 degrees, then tan of x is also 1. Similarly, when x equals 270 degrees, then tan of x is undefined. When x equals 315 degrees, then tan of x is negative 1. Finally, when x equals 360 degrees, tan of x is 0. And now we'll plot these points on the graph. Suppose that this is 1 and this is negative 1. So 0, 0 is here. 45, 1 is here. 90, undefined. 135, negative 1. 180, 0. 225, 1. 270, undefined. 315, negative 1. 360, 0. So the graph of y equals tan x should pass through this point. And the general form of the graph is like this. Undefined. Next. And finally, like this. Question B. Find x when tan of x is equal to 1 over root 3. You know 1 over root 3 is equal to 0.577. So it is smaller than 1. It's kind of more than half of this. So it is the blue line. And the blue line cuts the graph at 2 points. The first one is here. To find the first point, you will find the inverse of tan 1 over root 3. The inverse of tan of 1 over root 3. It is equal to 30 degrees. So the first point is 30 degrees. And to find the second point, you will see that the distance from 0 to the first point is the same as the distance from 180 to the second point. So from 180, we also add 30 degrees. 180 plus 30 is 210 degrees, right? So I would say 30 plus 180 equals 210 degrees. So we have two solutions. The first one is 30 degrees and the second is 210 degrees. This is the end of the test.